Welcome back, everybody. Today we'll be discussing the recent Yeezy restocks. Specifically, we'll be discussing whether you should sell or hold the pairs that you have got. To preface this, if you guys enjoy these types of videos regarding the market, reselling, and even info on how to acquire these limited products, be sure you subscribe and enable post notifications. This way, you're always 100% updated. Furthermore, for more urgent updates like shock drops, raffles, Sitelists, etc., follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10. This way, you're always in the loop 24/7 whenever there's a restock, shock drop, or even such as the Yeezy drops that we saw today. And for early information, before shock drops occur, Endurance always has your back. Feel free to check it out with the link in the description below. For those who don't know, Yeezys have finally restocked today. These are the leftover pairs from prior Adidas releases, along with newly released pairs that were supposed to be released earlier but were postponed due to the recent split up. Some of the new releases included the Yeezy Slide Azure and of course the highly anticipated Yeezy 350 Pirate Black and more. Considering there were so many pairs, we're not going to be doing a full detailed analysis on every single one. Rather, I'm going to explain my general thoughts as well as a brief hold rating out of 10 for each of the pairs. First, the most important and obvious thing to note is that this is most likely the last of the stock we will be seeing for at least these models. And even if some of the stock on these colorways is reserved for another restock in the future, it's not going to be a significant amount. I would say it is worth mentioning that possibility, considering Adidas did specifically state in their press release that future releases were under consideration. Of course, this can very well be for different colorways, however. Regardless, I would say that we can at least say with confidence that there should not be another large restock on any of these colorways like what we saw today. This is obviously a very important factor considering the dead stock supply in the market will now only continue decreasing as more people begin to wear their pairs and no more are released. This is a luxury that we don't have when it comes to most sneakers, considering even Jordan retros can simply be re-retroed in several years, as we have seen time and time again. On top of this, just like what we saw on Yeezy Day, with a large influx of pairs going into circulation at once, you could certainly expect a lot of panic selling to occur within the first 20 days for all of these. At this point, they are going to be at their lowest point. Hence, it should be reasonable to expect, just like following Yeezy Day, the majority of the highly demanded pairs should increase over time in both the near term and especially in the long term. However, this does not apply to all of them, as some of them simply will not have sufficient demand to see notable movement. Hence, I'm going to give some brief ratings out of 10 to each of the pairs regarding which are the best to hold. Contrary to most of my videos, I won't give a detailed analysis for each of them, but there may be time for some separate videos, so mention in the comments which ones you'd like to see me elaborate more on, with some calculations and examples of past pairs for comparison as we usually do. We'll go in no particular order. So first, we have the Yeezy 350 Onyx. I'd say this is one of the better holds given what their history suggests and the simple fact that all black Yeezy 350s tend to do well over time, especially if they are not releasing again. Even if these don't peak again at 400 to 450, which would have been a 50% ROI, just getting to 350 would allow a 30% ROI, which is pretty solid. So I would give these one of the higher ratings at 7 out of 10. Again though, expect these prices to keep falling over the next 20 days as pairs go into circulation, which of course only leaves more room for better ROI, which is why we have that higher rating. Then we have the Yeezy 350 Carbon Beluga. Considering even the Beluga Reflective is only 300 after such a long period of time, I'm not very optimistic about these. Even if these reach 300, that's only about a 15% ROI, so I'd rate these just below average at 4.5 out of 10. Then we have the Yeezy Compact Slate. Unfortunately, these never really have demand, and even all the black pairs haven't really moved since their drop. I rate these quite below average at 2 out of 10. And the same goes for the Yeezy 350 Coverlight. Even the black pair hasn't moved that much, but the large sizes did just a little bit, so while I would rate these below average, I'd rate them just above those compact slates at 2.5 out of 10. Next, we have the Yeezy 500 Utility Black. While they are already quite profitable, being an all-black Yeezy 500, along with what their history would suggest, it does seem as though they would have pretty solid potential to increase after their post-restock trough. Considering they are holding up higher than the Onyx 350s as we discussed, this does leave slightly less room for a good ROI, but still solid potential nonetheless. Hence, I'd rate these above average as well at 6.5 out of 10. Next, we have the Yeezy Slide Azure. This is one of the newly released pairs, so keep in mind that their drop in value will be more significant considering it's all of their stock going in circulation right now at once. Long term, I can see this vibrant colored slide ending up like the Yeezy Glow slides. Hypothetically, if these settle around $105 and increase to, let's say, $150, that's over a 40% ROI hypothetically. And if some sizes go up to $170 long term, like we've seen on some of the sizes on the Glows, that's over a 60% ROI. Such is the benefit of a low starting point. You get incredible ROIs. Therefore, I would also rate these above average at 8 out of 10, which is really, really solid. But again, keep in mind, this is taking into account that I'm expecting prices to fall quite drastically by the time you get your pairs. Then we have the Yeezy 450 Stone Teal, which is also a new pair. Contrary to the Yeezy Slide, I'd expect these to remain low, like all 450s after all pairs are in circulation, so I'd rate these below average as well at about 2 out of 10. Then we have the Yeezy 700 V2 Tephra. Based off their history, it does seem like they have decent potential to appreciate quite well over time, but nothing too notable considering they are starting off with a very high value already. Hence, I would rate these at just about average at 5 out of 10, which is not bad. Next, we have the Yeezy Foam Runner MX Brown Blue. Based off prior MX pairs, it does look like these have potential to appreciate well, although I wouldn't expect anything too significant. Nonetheless, I'd still rate these just above average at 6 out of 10, assuming we do see a notable drop in value as shipments do go out. Next, we have the Yeezy 700 Salt, which, based off their history, does appear they will appreciate following their drop in price, but not as significant as some of the other examples. And, of course, it doesn't help that their value is starting off very high, making a good ROI harder to attain. Hence, I would rate these just below average at 4.5 out of 10. Next, we have the Yeezy 350 Zebra. We have seen these restock numerous times, which makes these pretty predictable, and I would say going forward, I'd only expect them to do better than we have in the past, considering this is likely their final restock. With that said, even if they only see a small drop in value, I'd still expect a pretty decent ROI on these long term. Therefore, I would rate these above average as well at 6 out of 10. Again, this is assuming they drop a little in value still. Next up, we have the Yeezy Slide Onyx. This is another pair that I think has great potential to appreciate, even though they are still quite high for slides right now. I am expecting them to drop a little bit at least. Nonetheless, the all-black slides will definitely remain one of the more demanded pairs of slides long term. Hence, I would also rate these well above average at 7.5 out of 10, which is really good. Then we should also have the Yeezy Foam Runner Flax, and while they didn't drop as of me making this video yet, I am expecting a pretty notable drop in price since this is their initial drop. Assuming they do get quite low, I would expect them to react like other earthy toned foam runners, which should be a moderate appreciation, nothing too crazy. Again, this is assuming we see the price fall significantly first, perhaps from 160 to 170, and if that's the case, I'd expect these to be a 6 out of 10 hold as well. But I should also note with these newly released pairs, if you can get them super quickly before the price falls, like selling them for $230, just sell them right before the fall. And the same applies to the Yeezy Foam Runner Clay Taupe, assuming they also get quite low in value. In that case, I'd also rate them a 6 out of 10 hold. And last but certainly not least, we have the Yeezy 350 Pirate Black. Similar to the Turtle Dove 350s we saw last year, these have great long-term potential, being a remake of one of the first ever Yeezy 350s and an extremely iconic, sought-after colorway after all. However, I can't rate these a 10 out of 10, of course, because they are already starting off very high in value, which of course hinders their potential ROI. Nonetheless, I'd still rate them very high, at 7 out of 10, and perhaps I'll make an in-depth analysis video dedicated to these soon. If you happen to be interested in that, you can feel free to subscribe and enable post notifications. Also, be sure you follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, for urgent updates like the ones you saw today. Also, be sure to check out Endurance with the link in the description below if you're looking for a profitable side hustle that goes far beyond just sneaker reselling. With that, have a fantastic rest of your day. Congrats if you copped, or good luck if you're watching this before the final drops.
You can now let with your own fella. Where did that bring you? Back to me.